It's going to become more obvious to you that the things that maybe were drivers of your behavior years ago, even up until recently, are shifting rapidly. You may not be as interested in things that you were interested in for could be most of your life. You're going to find that those interests are just starting to shift. Lately, we have been receiving so much expansiveness, all of these light codes. There's been so much energy coming in, and you've been going through the healing process of experiencing the density and letting go. Well, during that process, what you're doing is you are releasing the attachment to these denser realities, these denser timelines. And those timelines were anchored in the belief that you needed all of this external validation to feel good. It could have been just maybe accumulating things, right? All your life working hard, putting in a lot of hours, and accumulating stuff. Because when you accumulate things, right, it elevates you in society. That's a belief that we have. Well, you may be starting to feel like you're just detaching from all of that. And let me tell you, it's a very weird experience because we've been immersed in that energy, that dense energy, that wanting, the needing, the lacking for so long that when you start to step out of it, it's very surreal. You're moving into an expansive version of you where none of that matters. All that really matters is continuing to expand, continuing to anchor in your higher self, detaching from those false beliefs, from those timelines, and realizing that you are in control of your own journey, okay, your own destiny. And that is an amazing thing to awaken to. But again, it's going to challenge the very beliefs that have been keeping you in this old programmed reality. Now, that old programmed reality can no longer remain. We're starting to see it detether or fall away. The energy of the planet and even the collective energy is starting to rise to the point where people are starting to see that they have been giving their power away or their control away most of their lives. And they find themselves, even if maybe you've had a successful career, maybe you're finding yourself still unfulfilled. I mean, honestly, how many times have you read stories or talked to people, especially those like nurses and people that are hospice nurses around people that are older and that are dying or close to death, say that they wish they could have done this more, they wish they could have done that more. There's the life that they led, just there's still a hole there. They're still very much unfulfilled, even though they may have had a lot of success in their relationships and in their careers, financial wise. There's still something missing, and the old reality tries to fill that hole with what society wants you to do or how they want you to behave, which is becoming basically like a worker bee or a slave, right? Just giving your energy away. And occasionally you get thrown a bone, you get thrown some money, you get to buy some things, and then you buy more things, right? That keeps you at a lower vibrational frequency because it keeps you in a frequency of lack. You need to do all of this so that you can get, because you lack the tools necessary to survive on your own. We are awakening to the fact that that is not true. You have everything you need. Even when it comes to higher education, you're going to realize that, okay, for years you thought you had to go away to school to learn all about science and physics and medicine and all this kind of stuff. Once you awaken and you start to raise your vibration, you realize that a lot of that information is going to just come down and move through you. You're gonna download it, anchor it. It's going to move through you, and you're going to start to awaken to things that you never realized were out there. Information, right? Data. It's all out there in the field, in the 0 point field, in the Akashic records. When you raise your vibration, you have access to it. When you go to school to learn, to be taught, you are learning from a lower vibrational perspective in a way that programs you into a certain way of thinking. So again, even with education, we're starting to step out of that. I think more and more people are starting to realize that they don't need these big fancy degrees to do what they want to do in life. Because a lot of times you go to school and you end up in a profession or career that, again, does not fulfill you. Okay, so when you start to realize that we are shifting into this new reality, and again, it's going to feel very surreal because the ego wants to look back to the safety of the old, the safety of the known, which are the old patterns, the old limiting beliefs that keep you trapped. Again, keeping you expending your energy to get something that you thought that you lacked. You have it all available to you now. It's just a matter of aligning with it on a vibrational basis. What frequency are you turned into on a radio? It's like on a radio dial. What station am I turned into? I've talked in the past about how when your guides come forward, they all are on a little bit of a different frequency. Once you start to communicate with them, you entrain to them, meaning it's like you set a preset on the radio dial and you remember where it is, and you can go back and connect with them whenever you want. Once you start to open up to the infinite field, you start to be able to pull down information that you thought maybe in the past you had to go to school to learn. Okay, it's all available. Anything that's ever happened or is going to happen is available. It's just, for most people, it's outside of the bandwidth, frequency bandwidth that they are focused in at. So how do we start to tap into this? Well, we raise our vibration. When you raise your vibration, you expand and you start to experience greater knowledge and greater depths of information, greater understanding as you move up in consciousness. That's how all of this works. So if you're feeling like you're detaching from the old ways, it's not because you're just no longer want to deal with that, or really is happening is that you are just totally stepping into a new version of you, right? The ego is going to say, well, wait a second, we got to stay there. And you're going to be like, no, I don't feel that anymore. I feel like there's another way to do this. And I feel like I know how to on some level. And you continue to step into that. Now, it feels surreal because you have this belief come forward that you have all this information within you natively, right? You brought it all in with you, but yet you can't quite access it. That's where you start to trust yourself and you know that you are on your path and you need to just continue to raise your vibration. That's all that this is. So this journey, this awakening, this ascension process is simply about continuing to raise your vibration. When you raise your vibration, you elevate into new bandwidths of frequency, higher dimensional timelines, however you want to phrase it, right? From the human perspective, we have all sorts of labels, right? But when that happens, the old timelines are going to be less relevant. Doesn't mean we want to just discard them. They're there. They're part of who we are. They served us at some point in our life. But what we want to do is observe them and not become them, not align with them on a frequency basis, okay? Because that's very, very limiting. It's time to trust that if all you do is continue to raise your vibration by feeling the density as it comes up, when you get anxious, when you get stressed, you don't run from it, you don't distract yourself from it, you sit with it, you feel it. You allow yourself to alchemize that energy. You breathe with it. You bring your body right back to a calm state of being. That opens the door for more of your higher self to land. And when that happens, more information comes with it. I've been opening up to all sorts of amazing topics around consciousness and gravity and physics and timelines and time itself and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of been dropping in and blowing my mind, right? That's because I've risen to a point vibrationally where it's a match to that information. Now, I don't have to go study it because I'm just aligning with it, right? So as we continue to raise our vibration, we're going to continue to bring in more of this information and realize that the old ways of doing things just no longer serve us, and that's okay. Again, it feels very strange at first, but lead into that strangeness, lead into that surrealness, that weirdness, and know that you are just simply creating space for more of this to come forward. You're going to wake up and you're going to realize things that you never thought that you knew, never thought you had access to. It could be your guides. It could be amazing information on physics, on gravity, kind of stuff like I've had, that kind of stuff coming forward. It may be outside of the bandwidth of consciousness that our current science is, so it may be off the radar. They may not even be able to explain it, but that's okay too. You have to trust in the information that you're getting because it is expanding you. And when your consciousness expands, you start to think differently. It opens up new ways of thinking, more fifth-dimensional ways of thinking, right? Not so linear, not so limited. not so trapped. You see things from a completely different perspective. So if you're starting to get some of that info coming forward, I want to hear about it. Drop it in the comments. And by the way, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead, click that subscribe button and like this video for sure. If you want more information or to learn more about what I've gotten recently regarding time, I put a video up last week. I'm going to drop a link to that video in the description as well for you. Check that out because it's really, really fascinating. Even just listening to that video can open something up within you where you could have or gain access to or drop in information that gives you a unique perspective as well. So hope this video resonated with you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.